NBC 12 First at 4 starts with breaking news.
For the first time in 50 years, there is no constitutional right to an abortion in the United States. You're taking a live look at the Supreme Court now, where protests have erupted after a ruling was handed down just hours ago that overturns Roe versus Wade.
This move undoes decades of legal precedent and paves the way for states to ban abortions entirely. We'll have live team coverage for you all evening, including what this could mean for abortion rights in Virginia and what activists are saying about the landmark ruling.
But we begin tonight with Bree Jackson. She has the latest from President Biden, who says this fight is not over.
Women's health care taking a serious blow today after a highly anticipated decision. In a 6-3 split, justices on the high court sided with a Mississippi law that bans almost all abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy. 50 years of policy abandoned, forcing women across the nation to rethink personal reproductive health care options depending on their home state. In Washington, Bree Jackson for NBC News.
And while abortion regulations in Virginia not changing immediately, we've learned that Governor Glenn Youngkin is in favor of a ban at 15 weeks and right now is putting together a team of conservative lawmakers to help make that happen. Henry Graff now to continue our team coverage. He's at the state capitol to fill us in. Henry?
Kirk, good afternoon, and new development right now. Department of General Services, which runs the Capitol complex here, now adding some additional fencing around the Capitol itself. They are concerned, out of an abundance of caution at this point in time, that protesters may come down to this area. The complex itself still open at this hour, but in terms of protesters, we don't see many folks down here at this hour. Glenn Youngkin says abortion rights are really a state issue at this point in time, and to get where his thinking is, the pro-life governor says abortion should be illegal around the time an unborn child could feel pain inside the womb. Now, the governor's statements today focusing a lot on what we could possibly see unfold here at the General Assembly coming up next year, but lawmakers will actually be back here for a one-day session coming up in September. What could happen during that meeting? I'll share that part of the story with you when we join you for Live at 5. First at 4, we are live here at the state capitol. I'm Henry Graff, NBC 12 News.
All right, we'll check back then. Thank you, Henry. Reaction from Virginia lawmakers has been pouring in. Senator Mark Warner saying this turns back the clock 50 years and that, quote, I am heartbroken for the generations of women who now have fewer rights than when they were born, many of whom will be forced into life-threatening or prohibitively expensive circumstances to access health care as a result of this radical decision.
Today's historic ruling brought together dozens of abortion rights activists at the Bell Tower in Richmond. They're calling on lawmakers to maintain the right to choose in Virginia. Continuing our team coverage now, Ashley Hendricks is live in Richmond after attending that rally. And Ashley, they say this decision did not come as a surprise.
Yes, Sarah, folks on both sides of the aisle anticipated that this day would come after the Supreme Court's draft opinion leaked just a few weeks back, but that didn't make things easier for activists today. Some activists I spoke with today say they are certain that today's historic ruling will greatly impact minority groups the most. We hear why coming up at 5. In Richmond, Ashley Hendricks, NBC 12 News.
Ashley, thank you. And we will have much more team coverage coming up on Live at 5. We'll take you live to the Supreme Court and hear how more Virginians are feeling in the wake of the controversial decision.
And we have some more breaking news we're following from the nation's capital. The House sends President Biden the most wide-ranging gun violence prevention bill Congress has passed in more than 2 decades. It passed today with some Republicans crossing party lines to join Democrats. The move came after last month's 2 mass shootings in Buffalo and Uvalde. The bill would grant states for red flag laws, enhance background checks for 18 to 21-year-olds, and close the boyfriend loophole, keeping guns away from partners convicted of abuse, among other things. The president has said he is looking forward to signing this bill into law.
All right, we're going to turn it over to your forecast here with a live look outside from our Troutman Pepper camera. It's been mostly sunny so far this afternoon, and good news, it looks like we're not going to be seeing any rain this weekend. Nick Russo is here with what we can expect. Nick, I have my pool shoes on, so I'm really hoping for good weather.
Yeah, Sarah, really, it's going to be a beautiful weekend out there. As you take a look at our temperatures right now, we're in the upper 70s and lower 80s. Coming up in your first alert forecast, we're looking ahead to a gorgeous weekend and also our next chance for rain, which will be early next week. We'll have a full look at your 7-day coming up. Kurt?
Okay, Nick, thank you. Stocks rally on Wall Street today, with Wall Street having its second winning week in the last several months. The Dow is up more than 800 points, and the S&P 500 also up 2.4%. And some more good news, you can expect to pay a few cents less at the pump today. The national average is gone down for the 5th day in a row. It's down to $4.93 a gallon. Here in Richmond, expect to pay about $4.78. Prices are expected to increase, though, again as we approach the 4th of July.
And new details first at 4. After voting in favor of a tuition hike last month, VCU's board today decided to give one-time scholarships to in-state undergrads to offset that increase. So those students will be paying the same as they had this year. For out-of-state and graduate students, tuition will still go up 3% as previously approved. The university said it is able to make the change for undergrads because the state budget hasn't officially been finalized.
We have a crime alert now out of Hopewell, where police are looking for a suspect who robbed a man at gunpoint outside a convenience store. This happened at the 7-Eleven on West Broadway. A man told police he was sitting in his car when that suspect came up, pulled a gun, demanded money and jewelry, and then ran away. The suspect was last seen wearing a red baseball cap, dark-colored hoodie, and blue jeans. If you have any information that could help, please call Crime Solvers. That number 804-541-2202.
In a unanimous but mostly symbolic move, the Virginia Board of Health calls recent remarks by the state health commissioner a, quote, embarrassment. That's according to our partners at the Virginia Mercury. This comes a week after the Washington Post reported that Dr. Colin Green had repeatedly downplayed the role of racism in health disparities. In an interview, Green said he had yet to see, quote, compelling evidence that it played a role in the inequalities of maternal and infant health care for black women and their babies. The resolution by the board essentially bans the commissioner from making public statements that are contrary to the board's policy or intentions.
We have a vaccine alert first at 4. There's now a second COVID-19 option for kids ages 6 to 7 in the U.S. after the CDC gives its thumbs up. That age group has been able to get shots since last year, but only has the Pfizer shot been available for them. The Moderna doses are to be given about a month apart. Moderna officials have said at some point they expect to offer a booster to all kids ages 6 to 17. And taking a look at the latest coronavirus numbers in Virginia, cases down slightly. The Department of Health reporting nearly 3,000 new cases overnight. The positivity rate actually inching upward, now up again to 17.6%. The number of hospitalizations is also up slightly. Hundreds of teens seen throwing a house party. Turns out, though, the house didn't belong to them.
That's no good. We're going to give you a look at the damage the owners of the multi-million-dollar mansion returned from vacation to find. That's all when First at 4 continues. Nick?
Coming up in your first alert forecast, we have a beautiful weekend on the way with sunny skies and comfortable temperatures. We'll have a look ahead to the next several days, including our next rain chance coming up.